ability to demonstrate forgiveness. And I'm going to put a picture of him up on your screen here. He's the gentleman here in the front, not the one with the glasses on, but the other one right here in the front of the picture. In December of 2008, Dong Young Yoon, a Korean immigrant, experienced a life-altering accident. You see, a military jet crashed into his house. And as if that's not bad enough and severe enough, wait until you find out what happened because of it. In San Diego, California, a Marine Corps fighter plane was returning for an offshore training mission. And it was flying a little lower than it should have, and it clipped a tree. And when it clipped into the tree, a wing was damaged, and it managed to slam into 5 homes about 2 miles from the air base that it was about to land at. 2 of the homes that it slammed into were incinerated, instantly. The 3 others were damaged beyond the ability to be able to live in them. Don Yun Yoon's family home was one of the homes that was incinerated instantly. When his house went up in flames in a matter of seconds, he lost his 36-year-old wife. He lost his 2 daughters, 2 months old and 15 months old. And he lost his 60-year-old mother-in-law. But you know what's absolutely amazing about Don? Is he's not angry. He wasn't angry at the pilot who caused the wreck. A matter of fact, I want you to look on your screen there. You're going to see 2 quotes that he said in an interview, literally just hours after the accident. He said, "I don't have any hard feelings for the pilot. I don't blame the pilot. I know he did everything he could." A matter of fact, he's even concerned about the pilot. He goes on to say, "Would you please pray for him not to suffer from this accident?" I know he was one of the treasured of our country. I want you to look closely at the last thing that he said about the pilot. Please pray for him not to suffer from this accident. I'm just at a loss for words. You see, Dong understood the extravagant power of his own sins being forgiven and how powerful it is to forgive somebody else. If there was ever a person that had a right to be aggravated and felt hurt and upset and angry, it would certainly have been this gentleman who lost everything that he found of any value. You know, we all struggle with forgiveness in our lives. Truth be known, it's hard to forgive people when they hurt us. I know from my own personal walk, there's been times in my life where I've gotten angry with people and upset with people for being hurt because I've been hurt by them. And it has hurt not only the relationship I had with them, but hurt my relationship with God and hurt my relationship with others. And for a long time, it would be a stumbling block for me. Well, tonight I want us to look at Colossians chapter 3, verse 13, only one verse, but it's going to say so much about what a Christian should do with forgiveness. So if you're following along with me, Colossians chapter 3, verse 13. Make allowance for each other's faults. Forgive anyone who offends you. Remember, the Lord forgave you, so you must forgive others. Not a very lengthy verse at all, but an incredibly powerful verse in what it says. You see, it's reminding us that when we genuinely accept Jesus into our hearts and our lives, we are transformed. And that transformation leads us into behaving and acting entirely different. Our character changes. And Paul tells us part of that character change is that we learn to bear with each other. A matter of fact, if you were to look at a more literal translation of this verse, it would say, put up with the people who rub you the wrong way. Now, I'm not going to ask for a show of hands, but how many times in life have you had a hard time dealing with somebody that just really, no matter what they do, is under your skin all the time? You see, the heart of Paul's message is that we are to do more than simply play nice with those that hurt us. We're to find love where hostility once existed. And the truth is, our tendency is to pay evil for evil. We want an eye for an eye, right? We want to get even. The truth is, our holy response should be forgiveness and should be prompted by the grace and the forgiveness that we've received already for the way that God has treated us and what God has done for us. Forgiving others is all about remembering how much God has forgiven you. I'm not going to sit here tonight and tell you that it is a piece of cake to forgive someone that hurt you. Man, it is hard. It is difficult to forgive someone who has wronged you. Trust me, even as a pastor, I've had my moments where I have struggled to forgive somebody that has wronged me. But I will tell you that in the big picture of things, what they have done is so infinitely small compared to what we have done and we continue to do to God and how we treat God. And I will tell you that remembering God's infinite love and his forgiveness can help us love and forgive others. It can help us let go of the bitterness and hate. We can let God worry about all the wrongs that we've suffered, and we can stop living a life of bitterness and feuding and fighting, and we can live with a renewed joy and love and peace in our lives. Give the grace you've been given. Now, I want to tell you that just because you give grace to somebody, it doesn't mean you're approving of their deeds or their offender. We watched a video at the start of worship tonight that talked about the song Forgiveness by Matthew West and how that mother could go and forgive the drunk driver that killed her children. And what a powerful testimony that was. Yet that is exactly what Colossians 3:13 is asking of us. To be able to forgive somebody that hurts us. Doesn't mean that you approve of what they did. That mother didn't approve of the drunk driver, but she found forgiveness in her heart. Jesus doesn't approve of your sins, but he finds forgiveness in his heart for you. I assure you, grace is not blind. It sees full well, and it sees the hurt. But the amazing thing about the grace that God gives you is that it chooses to see forgiveness even more. And that's what's expected of us. We're expected to learn to let go of things. Where grace is lacking, bitterness abounds. There's never been a truer statement. And where grace abounds, forgiveness grows. You're probably wondering, for the title of the message tonight, I had, If Hurts Were Hairs. And you probably were thinking, what an odd title. And I know my small group leaders that have seen it since Monday have had a lot of time to think about it. I know that if I'd have seen that as a title, it would have grabbed my attention and made me think how crazy this was. But I got to thinking about, if hurts were hairs, we'd all look like grizzly bears. After all, aren't there a lot of hurts in our lives? Friends that make fun of the way we dress sometimes, and it insults us and it hurts us. Teachers who ignore your work and look past you and neglect your hard efforts and your hard work. Parents who embarrass you and make you want to crawl under something. A girlfriend who blows you off for something else. A boyfriend who dumps you. It all hurts. The question I've got for you tonight is, how do you respond to that hurt? What do you do with that hurt? Do you build a prison of hate, each brick being a hurt in your life? And then you slowly build this single room prison cell around you, and you have a single bunk all by yourself so that you can wallow in your own self-pity. Maybe you hang large video screens on all four walls of the recorded images of every offense that somebody has ever done to you in your life, so it can play over and over and over and over and you can just go around going, woe is me. My life is so bad. Now, I don't know about you, but that doesn't sound appealing to me. And why it doesn't sound appealing is simple, because that path leaves you bitter and angry and bent on revenge. It leaves you headed in a direction that has a mindset that it is an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. And by golly, they hurt me, so I'm going to hurt them. But why not forgive others as God's forgiven you? You see, God is in the business of restoration and peace. That's what drives his forgiveness for us. He wants our relationship with him restored and at peace. And because of that, we should also let that drive our forgiveness for others. We should want our relationships restored and at peace. It doesn't mean you're going to be best friends with somebody that hurts you. But it does mean you can find it in your heart to forgive them. And the truth is, it's only when we're at peace with others that we can experience the pure peace of God's presence in our lives. You see, I'm going to tell you firsthand that if you hold on to anger and bitterness and unforgiveness, that God's peace will never be in your life. And your relationship with him will never be complete as long as you carry around that unforgiveness. So as we get ready to go to small groups tonight, I got a couple questions. They're up on your screen that I just want you to think about. Is there someone in your life that you need to forgive? Not who needs to forgive you, okay? Because that's where our brain instantly goes when we read this question. But is there someone in your life that you need to forgive? Whether it's having a conversation with them or working out with just you and Jesus. I plead with you to take some time this evening and examine the relationships in your life. And maybe you need to ask someone for forgiveness. Maybe there's someone in your life that you need to ask God to reveal to you that you've hurt them. And you need to go to them and you need to ask their forgiveness. Don Yun Yoon was not only able to forgive, but he was able to pray for someone whose actions resulted in a tremendous amount of grief in his own life. Imagine how amazed people would be around you if you demonstrated that type of forgiveness. Let's pray, guys.